Hi, AP Statistics students. This video is how to use the TI-nSpire Calculator. We're going to talk about how to enter data, how to display data, especially for the histogram, because I know we need to talk about that. We're also going to talk about how to use the calculator to compute some basic statistics so we can measure center and spread and those kinds of things using your calculator. If you've already watched the video for the TI-84, then because you own a TI-84, you don't need to watch this video. If you have a TI-89, there'll be another video for you. So don't worry about this video if this doesn't pertain to you. This is just on how to use the TI-nSpire to make this all happen. So we're gonna put a data set up here in a second, and that's data that you're gonna wanna enter into your TI-nSpire calculator. How do you enter data in the TI-nSpire calculator is the first thing I'm going to show you. So I'm going to transfer over to my. So here on the document camera, you can see my TI-nSpire CX-CAS. If you are one of the ones that you borrowed from the school, you do not have a color screen, and I apologize for that. We bought those a while ago, and ooh, the focus have control. And so we are not able to provide color screen ones to all of you, just the black and white ones. This is the home screen. So when you push the on button, you can actually see it down here in the lower right. You get this screen, and across the bottom is a row of icons. I mentioned this earlier in one of the earlier videos, that's where we're going to go when we want to add pages to our document. The TI-nSpire is a little bit different in its file structure, and each problem can be done in a separate document where you have different pages. So, and some of your pages might be like Word documents or spreadsheet documents or graph documents. There's lots of different things we can do. To start off with, though, we need to enter the data. And so the one right here in the middle, the lists and spreadsheets, is where you want to go. Go ahead and push enter, and you will get what looks like a blank Excel or Google Sheet spreadsheet. And right here is where you're going to want to pause the video here. I'm going to put the data set up for you and enter the data into this column labeled A right here. So go ahead and pause when you see the data come up. All right, now that you've got your data typed in, you can see that I've actually titled my list right here, up here on the top. So I'm gonna move my cursor up to where it says, you can see it's highlighted at the very top around A, and I'm gonna give this a name. I called this example. This is actually the percentage of residents in each state that were born outside of the United States. And so you can title it whatever you would like. I use the word example just because this is the example problem that I'm doing for you guys. Now, from here, what we want to do first, I want to show you is how to come up with the graph for our data set. So I'm going to go back to that home screen. I'm going to push the on button again. Brings back to this home screen. And I'm gonna go one icon over to the right, this one over here, move the cursor, there we go. It says data and statistics. And so I'm gonna hit enter. And right off the bat, you go, whoa, that's kind of a mess. And yeah, it is a bit messy when you first open it. Now, if you move your finger across the trackpad, you can see that it actually operates like a trackpad, like on a computer, laptop or something. And move the cursor down to where it says click to add variable on the x-axis. All right, there we go. I'm going to click it. And then you can see the name that I gave my list is the only choice here because it's the only list in the problem. So I'm going to hit enter. And all of a sudden my data jumps into a nice looking little dot plot here. And as I mentioned in the video last week, dot plots are a great way to get started with your data. Now, if you want, push the menu button. And you can see the very first option is plot type. So I'm just going to push to the right. And you can see I have a bunch of different kinds of plot types I can make. Look at choice number 3, histogram. And there we have a histogram. Now, the thing I don't like very much about TI-nSpire and the software is there's so many bars here that it's almost too granular. You don't get a sense of the general trend of the data. I mean, you kind of do, but you kind of don't. The bars are just really narrow. And I mentioned earlier in the earlier video, you know, I always say between 5 and 9 bars. I mean, look how many bars we have here, like 14 bars here. So We want fewer bars, which means we have to have wider categories or classes. So I'm going to go back to the menu. And you see second choice there is plot properties. And then you see the second choice on this list is histogram properties. And then you can see something called bin settings, choice number 2 again. And I want equal bin width. Okay. But right now the width is set for 2. And that seems like it's probably too narrow. So let me change that to a bin width of 5. And look at that. Now we have a nice set of bars. There's 6 bars. Everything's looking good, except you may notice the left bar is off the page. So let's go ahead and go to our window and zoom here, choice number 5. And I'm going to zoom data for that. So I can zoom out and actually see the top of the bar. And you can see the frequency for that is 19. It's really cool. You can put the cursor on a bar and it shows you, oh, look, from 0 to 5, there are 20 data points in there. From 5 to 10, there's 13. And so on and so forth. You can really get a sense for what the data looks like for each one of those categories. So pretty cool. Nice way to get your histogram made and displayed with a good number of bars. Now we can definitely see the trend in the data as we go from left to right. We see it falling off, so we have a nice skewed right histogram here. The other thing I wanted to demonstrate for you on this calculator is how to come up with a mean, a median, a standard deviation, and all of the data that we, center and spread stuff that we talked about in our last video. So I'm going to go back to my home screen. And the very first icon in this row of icons is a calculator screen right here. So I'm going to go and get myself a calculator screen. And this is just a normal calculator screen. We can do all kinds of calculations. Okay. But I can, if I go to menu, you can see choice number 6 is statistics. And I'm going to do, we'll get to all of these things eventually this year. But I'm just going to start with the top one, stat calculations. And we have a single variable, the percentage of residents who were born outside the US. So it's a single or one variable statistics. I have one list, so I'm going to say 1. And now here's where you just click and there's your data list again. You don't need to change anything else in here. Frequency list is fine, just leave it alone. Category list is blank, include categories is blank, that's all okay. So just hit okay. And it's this display is so big, it fills up the whole page plus some. So if you scroll back up, you'll see some things that look familiar. Notice right at the top there, we have X bar. As you saw in the video for our class for later this week, X bar means the average or mean of the data set. Okay? If you skip down here to this SX right here, okay, that's the standard deviation that we talked about in the previous video as well. Standard deviation for this data set is 6.08. If you keep going down, you're going to see min, Q1, median, scroll a little bit there, Q3 and max. Hey, there's your 5-number summary. Everything you need to make a box and whisker plot is right here. So this screen is very handy for us in statistics. Now, if I go to my graph again, now I can't remember what page my graph is on. I'm going to hit the control button, the blue button, and the up arrow. And it will show me all of the pages that are in my document so far. And I'll say, oh, yes, I remember. It was the one with the bar graph on it, the histogram on it. So I'm going to go over there. I guess I have 2 of them. I was demonstrating this earlier in the earlier demo. Hit enter, and there's that graph. Okay, again, and one more thing. If you go to menu and go to plot type, you may have noticed one of the other plot types was a box plot. And here we go. We have our box and whisker plot. Notice anything? See that little dot all by itself out there way to the right? That is an outlier. As we talked earlier, Outliers are data points that lie outside the trend of the data. In class on Thursday or Friday, depending on when I see you, we're going to talk about how do we know that that is actually an outlier. There's a famous mathematician, his name's Tukey. There's some equations that he came up with that will help us identify when we have an outlier. And I'll show you exactly how to figure out that that is an outlier, the arithmetic behind it. But you can see it clearly identified here on our graph. So that is a quick tutorial, but hopefully if you have questions on it, you can rewind the recording. You can also ask questions about it when I see you next time. But that is how you use your TI-nSpire, at least for some of the recording, or sorry, not recording, just some of the statistical methods that we're going to be doing for now. We'll have more videos later for the TI-nSpire on some of the higher level stuff, some of those other things that were in that statistics menu. All right, guys, thanks for watching.